Hey you guys, what's up? It's your girl tamarialakayye. If you are new here, I do videos on life and Locs. If you're not new, hey girl, welcome back. We're jumping right into the storyline of after me leaving my first husband to what led up to me getting married to my current second husband. So after or towards the end of my getting my divorce or whatever, I started having a lot of relationship with women. Now, I feel like I've always liked women, and my mom, like, she even knew, like, I called myself coming out to her, and she's like, girl, I already knew. Like, I went through a really tomboy phase, but a part of my tomboy phase had to do because, like, yeah, I did like the masculine look, but as well, we always had a lot of visitors within our household that my mom was like helping out and letting them stay with us for a little bit, and those visitors would kind of like creep into my room and do stuff to me that was just kind of uncomfortable. I wouldn't say that it was like, it was abuse, but it wasn't like, I wouldn't know the exact term to say it, being that there wasn't any actual penetration that went on. It was just a lot of touching and grinding that were going on from people that was much older than me. So of course I never told my mom about anything like that because I couldn't talk to my mom. So I kind of was like, I'm gonna start dressing like a guy. Maybe if I dress like a guy and look like one of them, then they won't bother me. So I did that for a little while, for some years, and then I kind of grew out of the very masculine, and it was like I was semi-feminine, semi-masculine with the way that I would dress. But anyway, I started talking to girls and just was like really into girls, and I feel like a huge part of that was that, I don't know, I felt some of the affection from girls that I feel like I might have missed when I was a kid, but at the same time, it was just like, it was a strong connection that I would feel with them, and I just really liked it. And I definitely didn't care what anybody thought or had to say about it. It just was what it was. Of course, me getting into the wrong relationships with the wrong people. So still in my own place or whatever. I'm working, I didn't finish school. So when I finished school, I had, my senior year, I was going to a vocational school to where I got my CNA like my mama did. You know, I feel like my mama married a military guy, I married a military guy. The first military guy that I married, he kind of rejected the shit out of me, kind of how my dad did. But at the same time, even though he rejected me how my dad did, he also, you know, like I said, had that level of protection that he was able to give me. Like, my baby daddy would come over to the house to pick up my son, and I'm not gonna say that, you know, it wouldn't have been a fair fight, but my baby daddy was not trying to come for me the way that he would come for me when there wasn't a man sitting on my couch. So I felt protected. Like, I was like, okay, come get your son or whatever. Like, I had no issues because I felt protected. So back to the girl situation. I started talking to this girl, stud girl or whatever, and my life just, like, when I was talking to her, it was like during the period of my life where I was binge drinking. Not only was I binge drinking, I was binge smoking. Like, to the point to where I would black out, and then I wake up and I didn't have sex with him, I didn't have sex with her. I don't remember what went on. It was just like, oh wow. Now I can remember like leading up to the sex, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's fun, I'm kissing on people and I'm doing all kind of crazy stuff, and I'm just completely wild and completely free. And then it's like that blackout moment where you're doing stuff that you don't know that you're doing with people that you don't know that you're doing it with. And then that next morning when you wake up and you hear everybody talking about the story about what you was doing, and you like, what, me? Like, I can imagine it, but I don't remember that part. So eventually that just kept happening. It kept happening more than once. It wasn't like a once or twice or 3 or 4 times. It just kept happening. And it got to a point to where it was becoming very embarrassing. And I was just like, you know what? Like, I can't really like hang out with people like how I'm hanging out with them. Not to mention, I was like very much in the club. Like, always in the club. I started going to the club when I want to say I was 18 when I started going to the club. I wasn't even old enough to get into the club, but because my baby daddy worked at one of the clubs as a bouncer, he was able to get me into one, and then some of them, it was just like they didn't check your ID. So I started going out really young and just drinking like heavily, like blackout drunk. Like, I can't imagine like how many times God has literally took the wheel, because I remember doing crazy stuff, like being so drunk behind the wheel, so drunk. Like, God literally saved my life and probably other people's life on the road so many times. Because I remember like driving through a field one time being drunk, driving through apartment complexes like crazily. Like, it's like, you know, when people talk about your subconscious and your conscious a lot, and then it's like your subconscious, I feel like when I would black out, like regular consciousness was not there. So subconscious, like, it had to pick up strongly. It had to evoke strongly in order for me to be like doing what I was doing. Like, it was really hectic. It was really crazy, all of my drunken nights. And I had a lot of drunken nights. A lot of drunken, high nights. I had a lot of them. And it just got to the point to where it was like, okay, it was fun. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, it wasn't fun. But when it became like, I don't know, I just felt like I was losing myself. I felt like I was demoralizing myself. I felt like I should be doing something better than what I was doing with myself. And so eventually, especially since like I was raised as a Christian, and you know, I was already saying that I felt bad anytime I thought about doing anything because of Christianity. So like a part of Christianity kind of called me back to reality and was like, hey, you need to slow down. Not only that, but I kept getting in trouble. I kept getting in trouble with the law, and it became very costly to get bailed out of jail and to pay court fees and court fines because I was at the club and drunk and got into a fight, or I was at the club and drunk and somebody wanted to fight me for no reason. I feel like somebody wanted to fight me for no reason was probably the most part of me getting in trouble with the law. If you'll notice, I don't know if you guys ever noticed, but one of my eyes are smaller than the other one. And I did go a little bit ham on the concealer today, so don't pay that no mind. But one of my eyes is smaller than the other one. I think it's this one. I think it's one of them. I don't know. I can't really see from the viewfinder because it's a little bit far. But one of my eyes is smaller than the other one because I was at the club one night and I got jumped. I got jumped by these girls. I got jumped by these girls from the first girl that I started talking to. So she had to jump me because me and her got into a fight twice. So the first time we got into a fight at the club, drunk, so you know how when you go to some clubs, how it's like a little strip of clubs, like it's like one here, one there, one there. So basically we was on the strip or whatever, and she coming out of one club, I'm coming out of the other, and I see her and I'm like, hey, what's up, what's good? And she mad, and I'm like, what's wrong with you? So I walk up to her trying to give her a hug, trying to comfort her because I could obviously see that something was wrong. And she like pushes me, and I'm like, what is going on? And I get aggressive with her, and next thing you know, we fighting. my baby daddy worked at the club. He pulls me in here, or he pulls me inside of a club, like, what is you doing? Why are you out here fighting? And so the police saw her or whatever, and they started talking to her, ended up arresting her, so she went to jail. So I guess she was mad that me and her was fighting. She went to jail, so she seen me again, and she wanted to fight again. So we fought, and everybody said I won, you know what I'm saying? Like, they was like, oh, you won or whatever. And cause she ended up like just like walking away from the fight, holding her face. And like, I'm not an aggressor. Like, I don't be out here trying to fight people. I don't be out here starting stuff with people. But you know, you in my bubble, you in my space, you touch me, then I'm not gonna do too much arguing. But I will fight you. Like, I'm not out here looking for fights. I'm not out here starting fights, but I will fight you if I have to, or if I feel like I need to. And so that's basically what happened to me and her twice. So one night, me and my homegirl, we was getting ready to go out to the club. Something in my stomach was just telling me like, something don't feel right. So we at the club or whatever, and you know, regular shindigs, regular people, whatever. I see the girl that I had already got into a fight with twice. You know, the first girl that I started talking to. She's just sitting in the corner. She's just sitting in the corner and she's just looking at me, and I'm just like, whatever, I'm still finna do me. And I'm on the dance floor cutting up, doing my little dances or whatever, and so we leave or whatever. And I'm sitting in my car, and it's strange because like I couldn't find the girl that I was with. You know, the girl that I came with, she wasn't my usual come to the club girl, but you know, she was available for that night. And it was these girls around my car, and I'm like, what is going on? So the next thing I know, I'm getting jumped. Like, one girl, she swung on me, and she had the brass knuckles on her fingers, and that's like where my eye got fucked up. So I'm just going down swinging, because it was like 4 of them and just me, and the girl that I came to the club with was like nowhere to be found. Like, I feel like she low-key set me up. Like, seriously, I feel like she set me up, and then like after that I just really stopped fucking with her because I felt like she set me up. So that night that I got jumped, I went to jail. Public disturbance, resisting arrest because I was getting jumped. I didn't know the police were trying to arrest me, so I'm still fighting. And so I go to jail or whatever, and my eyes just like swole all the way up. I'm pretty sure you can look up my mugshot in the system and see it. It was pretty gruesome. So I'm in jail, and it was like probably on a Friday or Saturday, because that's when I would go out. You can't see, if it's on Friday or Saturday, you can't see the judge till Monday. So I'm in jail with this big ass swollen eye. They didn't try to give me no ice. They didn't try to give me no medicine to help the swelling go down. So it's just the same old blood and rocks and dirt, and everything is just there. And I couldn't do anything with it. I tried to, you know, clean it with some toilet paper and some water from inside of the jail cell, but that didn't help. So basically what happened was like my eye kind of got pushed back a little bit, and it just like never popped out. I guess maybe if I would have gotten that swelling down in a good amount of time, it wouldn't have been like that, but I don't know. So yeah, that, you know, that was my first quote unquote girl relationship. Then my second experience with a woman was, like I said, I was a CNA. I was working at a nursing home. You know, on CNAs, there's like 2 halls. There's like the east side and the west side, and it's just these long ass halls, and you go and you do your rounds, and you changing old people's diapers and feeding them yogurt and getting them ice water and stuff like that. I thought I was legit made because I was doing the job that my mom had, and it was a pretty good, decent job right out of high school compared to McDonald's. So, you know, I'm living my best life. I'm got my own check. I got money coming in from my husband. You know, I'm doing good, you know, apart from the disputes and things that I would get into at the club, because it seemed like I fought a lot. I fought like, I want to say I was arrested at least like, I want to say like 5 times before I was like, you know what? Maybe the club scene ain't for me, because it was the binge drinking at home to the club scene to, no, this ain't it either. But anyway, I'm working in a nursing home, and there's this older woman that likes me. And, you know, she wasn't really like my type. She wasn't my type, but she was cool. So, you know, I would hang out with her every now and then. And I remember one night we ended up going to a party, and then I ended up getting blackout drunk again. She ended up taking me home and, you know, doing some things to me. And then she got mad because I didn't want to do things to her too, because I was just like, nah, just, you know, I don't feel, you know what I'm saying? I don't feel the same way that you feel about me, about you. So she gets mad or whatever. And so I have to deal with her mean mugging me at work all the time. And it was just crazy. It was crazy. So that was that girl. And then, you know, I would, you know, kiss girls here and there at parties and at get-togethers, house parties, things like that. And it wasn't until it wasn't until my first like open relationship, I want to say, I can't remember how old I was, but it was like 23, 24, something like that. And, you know, I wasn't working in the nursing home at this time. I was working in a call center. And in this call center, there was this girl, like, she had like just literally transitioned from being regular feminine woman to like a stud type woman. And so we ended up being cool. We ended up kicking it together or whatever. And we ended up going out one night, and it was just like, it was the boldness for me. It was the physical display of affection for me. Like, she just went in. Like, I wasn't expecting it, but at the same time I wasn't expecting it, but I liked it. Like, I liked it a lot. And so we ended up having a relationship, but then she moved to Texas, and then I started talking to another girl. So eventually she comes back from Texas, and we just randomly meet. Like, we randomly meet up at, I remember it, we met up at a game, a college basketball game, because I was enrolled in college around the time. So this was like around 2011, because I had just started college in 2011, January of 2011. So I see her at a basketball game. Like, I'm sitting in the bleachers and she walked by. I hadn't heard or seen from her in a long time. And I'm like, and she looked and she sees me, and I was like, what's up? And she was like, nothing. I just got back down here, blah, blah, blah. I'm working at this place, and I'm here with, you know, the people she's working with. And I was like, okay, that's what's up. And she was looking all cute and shit. And I was like, and I was like, wow, she gonna text me. She gonna find a way. After this game, she gonna find a way to text me. And surely, beholdly, she did. She found some, I don't know if it was on Facebook or what it was, but she found a way to get in hold of me. And then we started talking. Around the time that we started talking, I was talking to two other guys. One guy was a drug dealer. Not like serious drug dealer, but serious enough to where I thought, like for me, I was like, okay, I don't want to talk to him because he's a drug dealer, and he already had me like traveling to Texas and picking up stuff and bringing it back to where we was at. And I was like, I don't want to get involved in that, because I've seen how that goes down in my family dynamic, and usually you end up behind bars, or you end out strung out on the drugs that the person is selling. And I was like, I'll drink and I'll smoke some weed, but all this other stuff, I'm not here for it. So I was like liking him because he was spending money on me, but then I wasn't really liking him because of that whole drug thing. Like, he was a cool guy or whatever, but that whole drug thing was just, it was too much for me. And one of my fears all of the time, like growing up, like even though I did binge drink and drink a lot of, or smoke a lot of weed, I didn't think weed was bad. I didn't think drinking was bad, but anything else I thought was bad. And I was like really fearful of forming an addiction that was as potent or strong as crack cocaine. Like, I did have an addiction to alcohol and weed and bad decisions, but I felt like I was doing okay because it wasn't crack. So I was like, I don't want to talk to him. And then there was another guy that I was also talking to, because, you know, I'm single and I'm free and I'm young, so I was out there doing me. But I also wanted to be in a serious relationship, and these were just like the people that were what I thought were options. And so the other guy, he was cool, you know, really, really handsome. He was like kind of one of them guys who, you know, he didn't really know where he was going in life, which direction, as far as like work or whatever. He was in between jobs, but he had like 5 or 6 kids already. And after me getting into fights with people about things that I didn't even start, I was just like, I'm not gonna deal with multiple baby mamas in order to have a man or a relationship. Like, not doing that. Like, you cool, whatever, and I fucks with you, but not the long way, not a committed way, not like us being together. And then that's when I ran into my ex, or the girl that I was in my first like relationship with. Not just like sexual experiences, but like a relationship with. So I was like, yeah, out of them it was her, and then the other 2 I was like, I might as well just go with her. And it's crazy that I say that I might as well just go with her, because I feel like what God was trying to tell me in that scenario, but I just, you know, I didn't want to listen, was that, you know how they say if you go back to an ex, it's probably going to be the same thing that already happened. You're not going to be able to resolve it. But I felt like, you know, me and her had good chemistry. You know, I felt like we could defeat what people say about going back to your exes and we would be okay. So basically, I feel like God was trying to say I didn't have to pick any one of them. I could have just waited until something better came along. I didn't have to just choose from that pool that I was limiting myself to. I could have waited and got myself together, because, you know, I had just started school. You know, I was doing good. Just started school, whatever, excited about my new found journey to better myself and things of that nature. You know, slowed down a lot on the drinking and the smoking, even though I was still drinking and smoking, but I had slowed down a lot. So me and her, you know, like I said, we linked up after the game, and it was like, as soon as we link, like we link, like we'll text each other all day, we'll talk to each other all day, you spend the night at my house, I'll come spend the night at your house, you spend the night at my house. Like, we would like literally be inseparable. So she was staying with her mom and I was staying with my stepdad. And yeah, this is after my mom passed away. So I feel like I missed an important relationship. This guy, I missed him, but we'll go back. So me and her, we link up or whatever, and we just was like, probably within like a few months, probably not even a few months, we were like, let's get our own place together. She had a good job. Me, on the other hand, like, why am I always, well, no, I'm not gonna say it. I wasn't broke, because I worked with my first husband. I had a job. I was a CNA. I worked with my baby daddy. So no, I was definitely not broke. But during this period of time with her, I did not have a full-time job. I was just strictly going to school and pretty much living off of student loans. So me and her, we come together. She was like, yeah, let's just get a place or whatever. And, you know, I'll hold everything down. You just finish working on school whenever you can, you know, pitch in. And so I was like, okay, cool. So we started having problems right from the jump. Like, it was like red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag. Us having issues, like even getting the apartment was the first red flag. And then once, you know, we got everything together, we got the apartment or whatever, she started acting a little bit weird. We had never lived together. Like, we had a relationship to where we spent a lot of time together, but we had never lived together. So this was our first time living together. And I just remember, like, when we first moved into our apartment or whatever, she was like, she wanted to get a gun so that, you know, 2 females in the house, we could have some type of protection. And I was like, you know what, that kind of makes sense. And then she had did a little bit of military. She was, I don't know if it was reserved or if it was active, but she was in the military for a short period of time before she, you know, got out. And so we get our apartment or whatever, and then we go and we're looking for a gun for our apartment. And we go to the pawn shop to get a gun. And I just remember pulling up in the pawn shop, and I just remember this heaviness within my spirit, within my soul, within my mind, within my chest. Like, I just felt it. Like, as soon as we pulled up in the parking lot, like, I ain't seen the gun, I don't know nothing about the guns, but just as soon as we got there, it's just like this feeling of heaviness was there. And we go into the pawn shop or whatever, and she's just like super comfortable with, you know, talking about the guns and what they do and what kind they are and what kind of bullets they use and, you know, all kind of stuff like that. Me, on the other hand, I don't know anything about no guns. Like, there wasn't any guns in my household. Like, I don't know anything about that. So ends up getting a 9mm gun, you know, get the ammunition and everything for it. We go back home. We're protected, right? Keep in mind, like, I kept having these bad feelings about this gun being there, but I was just like, I don't know, maybe it's just like anxiety or something like that. But then we get home, and it was just like everything to her was about this gun. Everywhere we went, she had to bring it. We could have been going to the corner store to get a Swisher Sweet, and she needed to bring it with her. I remember one day we rode all the way from our apartment to AT&T because they were supposed to come install our internet, and she got mad because they canceled the appointment or didn't show up or something. So she takes the gun and she goes down to AT&T like she's ready to blow somebody up or set it off because they didn't come install our internet. And I was like, this is very weird behavior. And I was like, she acting out. She doing the most. It is not that serious for her to be wanting to carry this gun everywhere. She wanted to carry it to the clubs, and she just, you know, wanted to carry it everywhere. And a few times we got into an argument or something, and she was like, you know, threaten me with the gun. Like, one time, like, legit had the gun pointed at me in my face, like legit. And I'm just like, you got a gun or whatever, but I ain't scared. Like, I ain't scared of no gun. And, you know, she's a little bit shorter than me, lighter than me. I don't know if she felt threatened and she just felt like she needed the gun. But I was just like, you know, even though you got it pointing to my head, like, I'm not scared. Like, this doesn't scare me. But it would be those nights that I would like go out and chill with my friend and then wouldn't come back until like the middle of the night. Like, I would be like, oh my God, I hope this bitch ain't mad. Like, I hope she not gonna try to shoot me when I go in the house. Because I done been out, you know what I'm saying? And she probably been blowing up my phone or calling me, texting me, and I ain't responded. I was like, I hope it's not gonna be nothing like that. But a part of me feels like maybe I had a part to do with that happening. I'm not saying that, oh, I made her pull the trigger and shoot me, because eventually we get to that part to where that does happen. But a part of the fear and the anxiety and the warning that I had, I feel like I can't say exactly at which points I feel like I was bringing that into fruition. I don't know if it was when she had the gun to my face and I was like, I ain't scared, I ain't scared. I don't know if that was just like me testing spiritual elements within my life and within myself that I shouldn't have been testing.